So if you've ever driven down Main Street, Toms Brook, or US Route 11, I'm sure that you've seen this building in the center of town. It's one of the more prominent structures in that community, and it was historically known as the Toms Brook School. Now, I'm going to talk about the history of this building, but also the history of this property and its use for community schools. So we know that as early as 1874, a school existed here in the town of Toms Brook. The reason we know that is that a county resident named Levi Pittman noted that his brother began teaching there. And 5 years before that, school superintendent John Grable had recorded that the student population at Toms Brook was 90. So we know that really early on, when the public schools were being founded in Shenandoah County, this land had been acquired by the school trustees and was used as a community school. Now, that school would have been for basically all grades, primarily younger students, because high school at the time was still something that only more affluent members of the community would have attended. And it would have required things like tuition and additional funds that a lot of members wouldn't have had. So at the time, really early on, primary education, what we would maybe say is now grades 1 through 7, though the designation would have been kind of different, would have been really the focus of the school, though we do know that there was a high school here that was utilized by people not only in town who could afford it, but also people out in the county, the more rural areas that didn't have a high school. If they could afford to send their children to high school, they would have sent them in here to Toms Brook or one of the other schools in the bigger communities or towns, paid the county to the tuition, and probably boarded them somewhere so that they could attend high school. Similar to what kind of goes on with college now, but not exactly the same. So this very first school building appears to have held pupils from 1870s when it was built until 1935. That year, the school board made the decision to replace that building with a brick structure, which is the current school building, which still stands here. Now, at the time, the school building was an old frame school that had had 3 additions made, and the newest one in 1906, and it, which was designed to house the high school students when that was expanded by the county. Now, the 1935 school, which still stands, was of course a brick building with things like a gymnasium and later a cafeteria that was added, and was much more substantial, much more modern, and had this really nice classical look that we think of when we think of schools. It was constructed during a major modernization program that was funded in part by the Works Progress Administration through the federal government, which provided funding for a lot of schools in the county that were built at the time. And we know that new schools, especially new high schools, were built in all the county towns in the 1930s as part of this program. Now, originally, when this school opened in 1935, it was still grades 1 through 12. There was still kind of that same system where students attended primary school in their own communities from around here and in the town of Toms Brook. So those early grades would have just been kind of the really local Toms Brook students. But once you got past grade 7, what they considered high school at the time, then people from surrounding communities would have attended. Now, of course, in 1935, we get a modernization of the high school program, and these tuition requirements are dropped, and the county also starts providing buses to bring people from the more rural areas of the county into the school. So you would get people who had attended primary school at small communities, and then if they wished to continue past grade 7, they would have been brought here on the bus to attend the Toms Brook High School. So in reality, there would have been more high school students here than there would have been primary school students because of the people coming in from the outside communities. In 1959, the county again changed the school setups. So what they did was they built 3 consolidated high schools, one in Strasburg, one in Woodstock, and one in Quicksburg outside of Mount Jackson. The Toms Brook High School merged with the Strasburg High School, bringing together the purple colors associated with Strasburg and the white colors associated with the Toms Brook Beavers into the purple and white of the Strasburg High School. And then the Toms Brook School became an all primary school. Okay, so it was grades 1 through 7. And that was held here from 1959 until sometime in the 1980s, when a middle school grades 5 through 7 were moved also to Woodstock and Strasburg. And then the primary grades 1 through 5 remained until 1991, when an addition was put onto the new elementary schools that the county had operated since the 1970s, and the Toms Brook School was closed that year. What happened was, after that, it was sold to several private developers who had different ideas for how the school would be used, but unfortunately it fell into disrepair, but eventually was acquired by a group called Pink People Inc., who converted the school and its additions, which included a cafeteria, into housing, and is currently used as that today, a series of apartments in the Toms Brook community, which has really revitalized and preserved the history of this school. So I hope you enjoyed this kind of story about the Toms Brook School. If you want to learn more or want to check on my sources, this all comes from the Shenandoah County Library's Truman Archives through both their Shenandoah Stories website and physical materials held there. So again, if you want to check that out, if you've enjoyed this video, hit like, leave any comments with any memories you have of the school or any feedback that you have, and hit subscribe, as there'll be other local history videos coming out hopefully each week about kind of the story of Shenandoah County. And if you want to be the first to know about that, you definitely want to click on that bell button and subscribe to this channel. So again, hope you've enjoyed, hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.